Bill Shorten, thanks for your time. Now, 2/3 of people in disability accommodation have been vaccinated. I guess that's a lot less than the 90% in aged care. What do you think is the reason behind that, and what are you hearing out of the group homes and COVID spread, etc.?
Oh, listen, I think it's actually outrageous that the Morrison government secretly, without telling anyone, decided to move vulnerable people with disabilities from being top of the queue alongside aged care to down the queue. And the government's been tricky every day ever since. They have vaccinated 66% of people in disability group homes, but that proportion is about 27,000 people all up. Now, there's 470,000 people on the NDIS who are profoundly and severely impaired, and the government's just simply ignored them, forgotten them.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the situation in Victoria. Now, obviously, what was billed as a short, sharp lockdown has turned into anything but. Is it simply a case, apart from the Delta variant being what it is, that people have had enough, they're not complying anymore? There's only so much people in Melbourne and Victoria can take.
Perhaps there is a little bit of that, that lockdown after a while loses its efficiency at the margins because some people just give up trying. But I want to just say, through you, Andrew, to your viewers around Australia, Melburnians have been really tough. I actually think most people are still adhering to the rules. I think most people are committed to trying to protect their families, to get through this. So I wouldn't want a view out there that, you know, some of those protesters and Sooks are representative of the vast majority of Melburnians. I think most Melburnians sticking to the rules. We see that the end is in sight, but of course it is hard, and some people have found the going too hard, and so perhaps have stopped trying as hard as they once did.
Well, just on the protests, I mean, you spoke about baby Nazis there, but do you concede there were also a heck of a lot of construction workers there and members of the CFMEU taking part in those protests? On the day after the riot, I said there were genuine construction workers, but there were other people seeking to politicise COVID for their own extreme ideologies. It was an unhappy marriage of the opportunists with the crazy views and other people who were just fed up. But I might just say it wasn't most construction workers. It's not most members of unions or people who aren't members of unions. Most people are actually adhering to the rules. And when these clowns ended up on the Shrine of Remembrance carrying on, and I do not know for the life of me why Tony Abbott's backing the crazy fringe and the unhappy. I think once they went to the Shrine, they lost everyone in Melbourne and probably all around Australia. Is there a danger Daniel Andrews will be too cautious coming out of lockdown, do you think, given what Victorians have put up with compared to, say, the New South Wales approach?
It's a good issue that you raise. Gladys Berejiklian is certainly opening up more quickly than Dan Andrews. But having said that, I think that Dan Andrews has gone the distance. This Delta variant is definitely, unfortunately, out and about in the community. I think that you'll find that Victoria will open up. Things will move quite quickly when they do. There's no doubt, though, that everyone needs hope. You can't front up every day and just tell people bad news. You've got to give people a sense that there's light at the end of the tunnel.
When should other states open up to New South Wales and Victoria, in your view?
Good question again. I think that once people are double vaxxed in big numbers, we've got to move towards that outcome, don't we? We are one country at the end of the day. So I think that once we get to what the experts say is the safe level of vaccination, then we've got to get on with it.
So at 80?
Australia is always
so is that 80%? Is 80% it, or is it higher?
Well, a bit like nuclear subs. Everyone's an expert on nuclear subs now. We're all epidemiologists in our spare time. I do accept that it seems to be a fair body of expert support for 80% double vaxxed from 12 plus.
Now, Anthony Albanese's gotten rid of your franking credits and negative gearing policies from the last poll. Jim Chalmers reportedly talking about keeping the policy on taxing trusts. What do you make of that? Do you support that?
I only know what I read in the newspapers about that last matter. Listen, I support that we took a
pretty bold package of tax reform to the last election. Whilst we got close, we didn't win. So I do support that we don't take those policies to this election, that they're not our policies, full stop. And that was in terms of franking credits and in terms of some of the other things. In terms of the trust policy, I don't know what the deliberations have been in other parts of the opposition. I know that Jim is conscientious, and if someone's chosen to sort of leak against him, well, that doesn't, that's pretty backward, I would have thought, pretty stupid.
Well, on climate change, if Scott Morrison comes up with a medium-term target before Glasgow, will that be a bitter pill for you?
Why would that be?
Well, given that you were campaigned against for having a medium-term target stronger than the government's.
Listen, Mr Morrison, I don't think is a man of deep convictions on very much at all. He's a mile wide and an inch deep. He campaigned against me on electric vehicles when we were going to build charging stations on national highways. He's now funding that. If he does a backflip on medium-term targets, that confirms to me two things. That when Mr Morrison says something, don't believe it, because he might change his mind tomorrow. But also confirms to me that we've wasted 3 years, and again, from even the last election to the next election, not taking the sort of action we should have been taking. And that's why I think, if Mr Morrison says it's raining, you're always better off to go outside and check.
Okay.